The big focus of this hour is the vaccines that have been approved for children in the age group between 6 to 15 years old. Now, in a big boost to vaccine drive in India, the DCGI has approved 3 vaccines for children. The Zycov-D has been approved for children over 12 years of age. Covaxin has been approved for those in the age group of 6 to 12 years, and the third one is Corbevax, which has been approved for 5 to 12 years. In fact, we're being joined by Dr. Ishwar Gilada, consultant when it comes to infectious diseases, an expert indeed, and also on the broadcast in order to discuss this. And we're also being joined by Dr. Ravi Malik, former secretary of the IMA. Both of you, thank you so much for joining us here on this discussion on Mirror Now. I'd like to start with Dr. Ishwar Gilada first. So we are seeing that there are, cases which are rising among children. We're seeing this in the national capital and various parts of the country. How significant do you think this move is? The fact that 3 vaccines now have been approved for one of the most, in fact, vulnerable groups.
Thank you very much for Apeksha. Actually, we had this Apeksha from the regulators that they will approve such vaccines and more in number. So we first congratulate them, thank them for doing this, better late than never. But the problem in our country is there are too many committees. So even if regulator, thereafter there are so many committees sitting on it, until they approve, the vaccine will not come in real market or real life usage. So same thing has happened with several other vaccines. Currently on record, we have 9 vaccines approved. But if you go to any market, any vaccination center, there are only 2 vaccines available. Third one is being made available now. Now, as regards to Corbevax, Government of India had paid 1,500 crore in advance in June 2021. The vaccine was to be made available from August. I don't know why 8 months, 10 months were taken to make this vaccine made. Who is going to be liable for such a criminal delay? And who is going to pay at least the interest on that 1,500 crore? Now, coming to the children vaccination, currently at 90% of our population is having at least one natural infection, so natural infection antibodies.
Right.
80% fully vaccinated. So around 85% of us have a hybrid immunity, but at least 95% of us have some immunity.
Right.
That 5% which is not immunized or infected, that is mainly in the children population, and therefore they are more infection. However, they do not get sick, they do not die. There is a trajectory is not bad. As it is, trajectory with Omicron is not bad even in adults. So there is nothing to worry even if children are getting infected or some cases are rising in the capital region or the surrounding region of Delhi. So I think on one hand there's a number of vaccines available, but I would like to appeal people that when COVID is lying low, this is the best time to get vaccinated, because at this time people are not infected with COVID. So getting vaccinated is not going to have a challenging situation.
Right.
If people are infecting the virus and then you get vaccine, there's a double challenge, and therefore it is. So I think it's the best time. People should get vaccinated as early as possible at the turn of their time, and particularly for children. The other authorities which are like Nitagi, etc., approve vaccination as early as possible for children above 5.
Dr. Gilada, you're making a very interesting point. In fact, please stay with us. I'll come back to you. I would also like to take a question from Dr. Ravi Malik. Doctor, there are concerns over, a 4th wave, and the parents now, the fact that cases have been, we're seeing so many cases in children. Now, that's primarily because of the fact that schools have reopened, but now parents are somewhere scared, and they're saying that the schools should go back to the remote learning, way of education. What do you think about this? Sir, I think you've put yourself on mute. I'd request you to unmute.
Oh, sorry.
No problem.
Yeah. Apeksha, now there are 2 different verticals. One vertical is we must examine that children have not been going to school for last 2 years, and they have suffered a lot because of the online teaching, because there are certain things which can only be taught on offline teaching, like leadership skills, team building skills, interaction between the students and all. So I think the school should be open, number one. Number two, I will like to differ with Dr. Dilara. There is nothing to be worried if the children are getting infection or this thing. Look, no Omicron or COVID variant is free from all the side effects. Every COVID patient should be taken as a potentially life-threatening. It is a potentially life-threatening infection. So we need to protect every child for that matter. And it is a very good move by the government. As a pediatrician, I can tell you, definitely it behaves very softly. It is very protective for children. But we cannot take it lightly, and we should get our children vaccinated the moment it is available. So from today, it is a very encouraging step that between 5 to 12 years of age, Covaxin has been approved. This is wonderful. I've been running the vaccination center in my hospital for last, and we have given thousands of vaccines. And I think there is a lot of enthusiasm among the pediatric patients too, and among the parents to get them vaccinated. So number one, it is a wonderful move by the government that we have got the vaccine. Obviously, it should not have been that much delayed, but whatever are the circumstances, I cannot go on the administrative side or the political side of that. But as a pediatrician, I'm quite happy that now the children between 5 to 12 years of age will be getting the vaccine. At least the parents and the teachers will be mentally assured. Even the children will also be feeling secure that they are now vaccinated and now they are going to the school.
Right.
As far as the numbers are concerned, of course, they are likely to escalate also, because in USA we have witnessed almost 50,000 cases if we take the last 7 days average. So we should be cautious. Although the cases are much less, in last 24 hours we have seen only 2,200 cases in India, but we need to be absolutely cautious. Seeing the fact that USA and UK, they are still grappling with this issue.
Dr. Malik, in fact, taking off from what you just said, that irrespective whether they're children or adults, everybody should be careful and this cases should be taken seriously. But the general perception that we have seen ever since, the onset of pandemic is that COVID does not impact children, like there are not severe impacts. So even if they are affected by COVID, the infection will be not as much as you would see, the damage will be not as much as you would see in adults. Do you think that is the reason why we're seeing this kind of, laxity when it comes to adhering to COVID norms? Do you think that we're somewhere sending a wrong message?
Definitely, it is sending a wrong message. I agree that the COVID has behaved very softly. COVID is very protective for children. All over the world, children have not, so many deaths have not occurred in pediatric patients, and COVID has been absolutely protective for children. But having said that, we must understand that it is a potentially life-threatening illness. Children have lost their lives. And there is a disease, what we call as multi-system inflammatory syndrome, which occurs only in children. And that is also a potentially life-threatening disease. So we need to protect our children. And moreover, we cannot give any guarantee that this monstrous illness will not change its variant and will engulf our children for that matter. And as a pediatrician, I must tell you, we need to be careful for children. Of course, not fearful, but we need to be careful and we need to protect our children from this monstrous illness.
Dr. Ishwar Gilada, there are a lot of concerns, among parents with it's always tricky with children when it comes to keeping them disciplined. Are there any sorts of, tips or some sort of precaution that you would like to tell the parents that they should be taking now, especially now that, the schools have reopened and we're seeing a rise in cases?
What we have seen, Apeksha, in last 2 years, there has been a lot of psychological and mental health impact on children. So we should appeal to the parents as well as the schooling community that for no reason now school should be closed. Even if you get their school, their own children, the school need not be closed. Secondly, protecting children is for 2 reasons. One is protecting themselves from COVID. And secondly, if they are protected, they will not be carrier of COVID to their parents and to the teachers. As the immunity wanes in them, they also can pick up infection from the children. So that's the reason that we need to vaccinate them. So we should appeal to parents that get children vaccinated as early as possible. There are always 2 views in people which are particularly expert, that should we vaccinate children or not, because children are not falling sick, they are going to hospital, they are not dying. So should we vaccinate children or not? But at this stage, it is important to vaccinate them for 2 reasons. One is to protect them, and second is to have a confidence building mechanism among the parents and teachers that children are vaccinated, the school need not be closed. So I think that knee jerk is seen in some place in Delhi as well as in Haryana, closing down the school by having just 2 or 3 children having COVID. I think you should expect that children will come positive. You should
Right.
not think that will be infected.
All right, Dr. Gilara and Dr. Malik, both of you, thank you so much for sparing your valuable time on Mirror Now. The conversation with both of you has been extremely fruitful, and I hope that our viewers have taken away some tips that they can implement with their children. Both of you, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast.